Hello Game Boys and Game Girls, I'm the Game Boy Guru, and welcome to my first pickups video of 2018, and my first pickups video since I moved into my new place. For those of you who have been following my re-unboxing videos, you might see that there's a whole lot more stuff on the shelves than what you've been seeing in those videos. That's because I have pre-recorded all the footage of that and am just editing and doing all the videos, kind of doing one a day or almost one a day if I can, to make sure that I'm getting those up. But for anything new that I'm doing, since I've recorded the first batch of those, you're going to see all of this behind me because I took the time to unbox 30-some boxes before I started shelving everything, because I wanted to have all the games out and then actually be able to shelve it, or shelve that stuff. And so, anyway, if you haven't been following my re-unboxing videos, why not? Pause this and go check those out first. No, I'm kidding. But you should check them out because they're fun. But anyway, in the weeks since I've moved in, I've been here almost a month in the new place. And in the weeks since I've been here, I've gone out a couple of times and picked up a few things here and there. And so I kind of wanted to save it all up for one big pickups video to sort of encompass all of my all my game hunting and pickups and arrivals and things from essentially January 1st until the first part of February, which right now, as I'm recording this, is February 3rd. So I'm going to start with a couple of things that I got in the mail, or no, one thing I got in the mail and one thing that I bought locally. So I'll start with the one thing I bought locally that's pretty standard, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch. I want to dig into this real bad, but I've basically spent the entire month of January just unpacking and setting up the game room that you see behind me, my living room set up with all my TVs and my consoles. I'm finally getting close to having that all hooked up, and I'll explain two reasons why I haven't played this yet. One is I want to finish Mario Odyssey first, and I haven't done that. I was playing that through December, but I stopped about a week and a half or two before the end of December because I was spending all of my time packing. So I still want to finish Mario Odyssey before I get started with this. And there's another reason that I'm not going to start with this immediately, and I'll tell you why here in a few moments. But very excited to have that game. Loved the original, loved X, looking forward to this. The thing that I got from Amazon here recently is Cinemora or Cinemora, I don't exactly know how you pronounce it, EX or X for the Nintendo Switch. This was originally out on PC and Xbox 360, I know. I don't remember if it hit the PS3 digitally, but it is a shmup with sort of a time mechanic. I think you can sort of manipulate time in some fashion. Anyway, there's a story mode, there's an arcade mode. Really looking forward to playing this one as well. And I've never been able to find it locally, and up until a few weeks ago, I was kind of following this through November and December, and all I saw on Amazon was a European Switch release. And I thought, it's getting, or it got, an North American Switch release. I just haven't been able to see it. Well, finally it showed up. But definitely looking forward to putting some time into that. So, I think it was 2 weekends after I moved here. Either the weekend, it must have been the weekend after I moved into the new place. I had to go back to the house to get some stuff and grab a few things. And so on my way through the town that I typically always did my game hunting in, I stopped at the game store that I usually stop at, and grabbed a couple of things. So, first of all, another 5-pack of NES Game Sleeves, because now that I've got all my carts shelved, I know I have quite a few carts that don't have desk sleeves. So, I'm a little anal retentive that way, but I like having these for all my NES carts. I grabbed this randomly. It is Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. Actually, I got this from the pawn shop, now that I think of it. It was the only thing that I found at that pawn shop that day, but pretty cool, and it even has this official Lord of the Rings movie trilogy product sticker. But it is a 2-disc game. It's an RPG. I believe now I've got this on all 3 systems from this generation. Truth be told, I'll probably play it on the Xbox because that's going to have the best graphics, and I've got my Xbox hooked up via component cables. But cool to have on the GameCube nonetheless. The other stuff I grabbed from that store were, I did go back and get the one-on-one game, and this is actually modeled after the same one-on-one game that I had as a kid and actually still have on floppy disk for my IBM PC Junior. But this is the 7800 version. It's one-on-one basketball starring Larry Bird and Dr. J, or Julius Erving. Had a ton of fun with that game as a kid, so I'll be curious to pop this into the 7800 and check it out and see how it compares to that. And finally, during that first little jaunt out, I picked up Firehawk for the NES. One of the unlicensed carts that I didn't have. This one's by Camerica, and it's a shmup of sorts. I think it's more of like a overhead free roaming shoot 'em up, but it's a shoot 'em up nonetheless. And of course, this is one of those games that has a little dip switch that you can toggle depending on whether or not the game boots, I think to help bypass the lockout chip. So pretty interesting there. So that was my first jaunt out. I want to say a week ago, I went and did kind of a test hunt, if you will. I went out and just checked the game stores locally and a couple of pawn shops, thrift stores, etc. Just to kind of make the rounds, figure out routes that I wanted to take from my house, and where I wanted to go, what order I wanted to go in, which places were closest to me, and just kind of figure out in the future, now that I'm in a city where all this stuff is readily accessible, I can choose to either stop at some of these places after work on the way home, or do like I used to do and make a day of it and just literally go out and do a hunt and hit all these different stores throughout the course of, say, a Saturday. So I kind of went and did a winding around town and stopped and hit some places. It wasn't all games. I had to stop and do a little bit of shopping for stuff for the place. I also hit a couple of record stores and picked up some vinyl for my collection. But anyway, I'll show you what I got. Where I used to hunt, there are 2 Goodwills. In this city, there are multiple Goodwill stores, but there's also a Goodwill electronics store. And so I picked up a few things there. I got an original Xbox memory card. I know that technically the Xbox doesn't necessarily need it because of the hard drive thing, but kind of cool that it still had that as an option. And I've never actually seen an Xbox memory card out in the wild, probably because most people just save to the hard drive. But kind of cool to have that. I might play around with that a little bit. This is a Nyko memory card for, I'm assuming, the original PlayStation. I've got another off-brand memory card for the original PlayStation that is paged, And so this, if you can hear it, has a button that you can use to switch between pages of memory. And so the one that I've had for years and years has 2 pages of memory, and so it'll store essentially twice as many save files as a traditional Sony branded memory card. I'm assuming this is similar to that, and it is probably a 2-page card, but I would have to look it up based on the part number here on the back and see if it'll tell me exactly what that is. But my assumption is it's for the original PlayStation. Got a Pokemon Blue cart, so now I finally have red, blue, and yellow for the Game Boy. So finally have the full set of original Game Boy Pokemon games. I don't know yet whether the battery works on this. I haven't tested it. My guess is it probably doesn't, and I'll have to replace it. But I picked it up for a song, and I ought to be able to do the batteries myself. So I'm going to give that a go. And one of the more interesting items I found there was this M90 Planet of the Games 39-in-1 bootleg Game Boy cart. The interesting thing is it's actually... It still looks like a bootleg game cart, but it's not bad. And unlike a lot of them that just say game at the top, this actually says Nintendo Game Boy with the trademark symbol. So it was a reasonably good copy, I'll say that. If you didn't know what to look for, or what the signs were for a bootleg cart, and we're just pulling something off the shelf, this might fool you, other than the label, which is off-centered and just looks awful. But on the front here, it shows Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, E.T. something or other, Wendy Every Which Way, a Dexter's Laboratory game, something called Portal Runner, which I think I've seen, and then a Xeno Warrior Princess game. So if Wendy Every Which Way is on here, that's pretty cool, because I've been told that's a really good game. But like a lot of these bootleg carts, this is more than likely specific to the Game Boy Color, and if I put this in the original Game Boy, it's probably not going to play. But I might have to check that out at some point and give that a whirl. But this is my second Game Boy bootleg cart, and I'm going to keep looking for these and see if I can find them, because it's pretty interesting, all the different, however many in one bootleg carts there are that are in just a standard gray type Game Boy game case. And the last thing I found at that shop that I didn't even hesitate to pick up was a complete in-box copy of Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance. GBA games in the box show up sometimes out on hunts, and most of the time they're either dirt cheap because they're terrible games, or they're prohibitively expensive. This is a really good game from what I've been told. I actually know someone who said that she and her brother both played through this and spent a ton of time with it and said it was super fun. And I've read online that it's a really solid RPG. But this is indeed complete in box because it has the little cartridge tray with the Golden Sun cart. But then it also has, the manual, a Nintendo Player's Guide offer, and Nintendo Power Magazine deal, your Game Boy precautions booklet, and a Golden Sun world map, which is in pretty good shape. and lots of cool information on the back. So, I'm not a huge... I've never been a huge RPG guy, but I've kind of started to get into the genre more. And this is the kind of game that, because of the portable nature of the GBA and all of that, I think I can sink my teeth into. So, pretty cool to find that randomly at the Goodwill Electronics store. And like I said, I didn't hesitate. I grabbed that immediately. While I was out, I went to one of the game stores that I used to frequent quite a bit. I haven't so much in the last, I'll say 5 years, but the last couple, 3 times I've been there, I've found some stuff. So, let's start with this. This is a Star Master joystick for the NES, as you can see. And it has one button up top, one here, and then select and start. No turbo functions that I can see, but it does have suction cups on the bottom, so depending on the surface that I stick it on, it won't stick to this tray that I've got my laptop set up on, but I'll have to find something I can stick it to, and then I can kind of use it for some shmup action or something like that. So anyway, different joystick. I'd never seen a Star Master. Whew, thought I had to sneeze. This store also had, the last time I went weeks ago, kind of leading up to moving up here, they had this rack of games that had a ton of stuff, and it was 5 for $10. And so I went back and I didn't clean them out the first time, but I bought a ton of games. Those of you who saw that pickup video. This time I went back and I bought some more because they had some more titles this time that I didn't have. So for the original Xbox, I got Close Combat, First to Fight, United States Marines. Pretty cool. It says it's based on a training tool developed for the United States Marines. So that's kind of cool. Probably similar to America's Army, which was also on the Xbox. So cool to find that. Got the Platinum Hits version of Need for Speed Underground. And then Call of Duty Finest Hour. All complete. I got 3 PlayStation 3 games. SSX, which looks like it might sort of be a serious reboot of the SSX series, rather than just a continuation of the previous generation games, because this looks like it's much more serious in tone. I got Disgaea 3, Absence of Justice. So that's my third Disgaea game now that I've acquired. And I got the Final Fantasy X and X2 HD Remaster, which I was surprised was in the bin, but pretty cool. I picked up one DS game in there. It's Adventure Time. Hey Ice King, why'd you steal our garbage? The title of these adventure games is Adventure Time games is pretty ridiculous. This one looks like a 2D action platformer, which is right up my alley. Also grabbed a stack of Xbox 360 games. So I grabbed Soul Calibur 4, which I didn't have for the Xbox 360 yet. Of course, that's got Darth Vader and Yoda. And actually, this was playing in demo mode on the Xbox 360 at that store that they had hooked up, and was just kind of doing the attract mode. And so I saw that, and then when I saw the game on the shelf, I thought, that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab that, because Darth Vader and Yoda. I got Command & Conquer 3, Tiberium Wars, Dishonored, Hitman Absolution, Cameo, Elements of Power, which I've been after forever. The pawn shop I always frequented usually had a copy, but it was real beat up and had no manual, so finally snagged that one. Got Army of Two, 40th Day, or the 40th Day. Xcom, Enemy Unknown, my first Xcom game. And something goofy from Konami called Tornado Outbreak. That looks like it's a 3D action game. And finally, I grabbed PSP RPG, Tales of the World Radiant Mythology. This looks like kind of a standard RPG with a lot of battling. Real-time battle system. Allows you to attack from anywhere on the battlefield. Customize your character in hundreds of ways by changing your clothing, voice, and more. So yeah, one more for the PSP collection there. So that was I think last weekend. Some days are starting to blur a little bit because I've been so busy with work and then also with spending most every night in this room unpacking, recording, and shelving games. Got something in the mail the other day that I ordered. I pre-ordered a couple of things from Castlemania. A couple of the repro releases that they're doing, and as far as I know, they are legit and they're licensed. So I'm looking forward to those because they're real nice packages. But I saw this on the website and I had to have it, and that is a Retrobit Mega Man Super NES pad, and it is dual link, it says, and so it'll work with PC or Mac via USB, and it has a plug for the original Super NES. So I am looking forward to pulling this out and giving that a go. I'll be able to use this to play a lot of the Game Boy games that I capture footage for my reviews. So look forward to that. Now, I'll bring you up to this weekend. So today, as I'm recording this is Saturday evening. Last night, when I went through, I had to drive back to my old house so I could do some cleaning and pick up some stuff. And I stopped by one of the game stores because I actually had them hold something for me that I wanted to get. And that is Vandal Hearts for the original PlayStation. Now, I mentioned before that I'm not going to start Xenoblade Chronicles 2 right away, and that's because I'm going to be playing this game during the month of February. Probably starting tomorrow. Vandal Hearts is the monthly playthrough game for February 2018 for rfgeneration.com. I've not been able to participate in a playthrough for a couple of months. I missed out on the Punch-Out and Super Punch-Out December competition, and because I've spent all of January unpacking and getting my house in order, so to speak, literally and figuratively, I haven't done any gaming this month, really, other than little bits here and there on my phone during downtime. And so I decided to go ahead and do the playthrough for the month, and funny enough, none of the 4 game stores here in town, in the city, had this, but the game store back where I always used to go for hunting had a copy. And since I've been a frequent flyer there, they went ahead and set it aside for me to get later in the week, and I told them I would either be by Friday night or Saturday to pick it up. Now, Friday night I stopped by on my way through town and picked it up, so I will be playing this during the month of February for the rfgeneration.com playthrough. If you're not a member of rfgeneration.com, I would highly recommend you become one. It's free. I contribute to the site monthly. I usually put up one of my videos, and they do a monthly playthrough of a different game every month, and they kind of rotate between current stuff and classic stuff. It's a great community, and the RF Generation database houses tons of video games, including lots of variants. And so you've seen in my pickups videos and my re-unboxing videos some of the games I have multiple times because I have multiple variants. And so there are a lot of those in the database, plus multiple region versions and things like that. So if you're a serious collector like I am, it's a great place to catalog your games. So anyway, Vandal Hearts, PlayStation 1, month of February, February 2018 playthrough, rfgeneration.com. Plug in the site once again because it's a great community and you should go check it out. But that's not all I bought at the game store. They had a BOGO sale, buy one get one. And so because I bought Vandal Hearts, I also got Resident Evil 3 Nemesis for free. And since this game has held its value quite a bit, because Vandal Hearts was a couple bucks more, I basically got both games for half price. Of course, I bought another 5-pack of sleeves. Not just because I know that I need more for my games, but also because I picked up 5 NES carts while I was there. And so these will work for that. So I got The Hunt for Red October, and Castle Quest, which I've seen but never played. And I was able to, in one fell swoop, knock 3 shoot-'em-ups off my list. I don't know why, but I've still never picked up the NES version of Xevious. So I finally did that last night. I don't know why I didn't have it, but I do now. I also got Adventures of Dino Riki, which is vertical scrolling, sort of a run-and-gun shoot-'em-up hybrid, where you run around with this character. The levels auto-scroll, but it plays similar to something like Commando, or Gunsmoke maybe, which I don't have yet. I need to get Gunsmoke. But yeah, I've been looking for this one for a while, finally got it. And the other one that I picked up, which is similar in style, is King's Knight. So I finally scratched that one off my list. So I'm getting much closer to having a complete card-only set of all the shmups on the NES. So I'm looking forward to that. In addition to that, fellow YouTuber Easy Racer, I ran into him, and he gave me a game, which was very nice of him and very generous of him. So I want to give a shout out to him, and I'll have a link below in the description to his channel. Go check it out. He's doing reviews of classic racing games, and he's got kind of a neat system, a neat scoring system that he's using, and he talks about the graphics and the sound and the gameplay and you know, how well it functions and all of that. And it's a neat series that he started. He's also done a couple of videos for kind of a Let's Play series that he's doing on the original Ninja Gaiden, and he kind of makes it look easy, so make sure you check those out. But like I said, I'll have a link in the description. Easy Racer. Big shout out to him because he gave me this game, and that is Jeopardy Sports Edition. He told me that he watched my re-unboxing, my first re-unboxing video where I did my Game Boy games, and he said that based on his small library of Game Boy games, he figured he might not have any that I didn't already have. Turns out he had 2. One he decided to keep, which is no problem because obviously I never expected this, but he said that he saw that I didn't have this one, plugged it into his Game Boy and tested it to make sure it worked, and brought it in because he was expecting to see me this weekend, and he gave it to me. So big thanks and shout out to Easy Racer. And again, go check out his channel because he's got some pretty cool videos. He's just kind of getting started. And it's good stuff, so make sure you go check that out. So thank you again for this nice addition to my Game Boy collection. And now today, after I did all the work in the house and got everything cleaned up and all the stuff that I needed to do, I went and did just a little bit of light hunting. And let's see here. I stopped over at a couple of stores. So I stopped at the other game store in the area that I always frequent and picked up a whole bunch of old games. So first we got the Dukes of Hazzard for ColecoVision, and now I've got a bunch of 2600 games. So we've got Space War, we have the Activision Decathlon, Midnight Magic Pinball, Desert Falcon, which was in 1988, and I don't remember seeing this game, so this may have been a late release for the 2600. Finally have a copy of River Raid. Finally. Been after that one for a while. A game called Sea Hunt by Froggo Games. They had one other cartridge there by Froggo Games that I wanted, but it's a little bit more than I wanted to pay. Another Activision game, Frostbite, which sort of looks like it might be a bit of a different take on the Frogger formula. I snagged Popeye, which I think might be a conversion of the arcade game. I'll have to check that out and see. I don't remember specifically. Also got another Activision game, Oink. Finally got a copy of that. I got Tank Plus, one of the generic label Sears and Roebuck Telegames deals. Don't remember ever seeing that one as a kid. And Canyon Bomber. So a nice little boost to my 2600 collection. And looking back over my shelf, I still have a little bit of room for 2600 games, so I'll continue to snatch those up as I find them. I stopped at a mom and pop thrift store that I only go in once in a while because they don't always have stuff that I want or anything really good. But this time they happen to have a handful of original PlayStation games. So I got Motocross Mania, Hardcore 4x4, the Crash Bash Collector's Edition, Jigsaw Madness, and NASCAR 2000. I also picked up, this is not a game-related item, but this is UMD Music. It is Rob Zombie Hellbilly Deluxe. It says Complete Video Album on UMD. So it's interesting that there's a whole bunch of stuff on here that looks like it's a bunch of music videos. So anyway, kind of interesting. But knowing Rob Zombie, it'll be weird and freaky. But I'll check that out at some point. And finally, I stopped over at my favorite pawn shop, and they hooked me up with a bunch of stuff. So I started with some PS3 games. So I got Armor of Two, the 40th Day, or Army of Two, not Armor. Killzone 3 Greatest Hits. Uncharted Drake's Fortune Greatest Hits. Battlefield 4. And Sacred 2, Fallen Angel. Got a couple of Wii games that I grabbed. Madagascar Karts, which I'm assuming is a generic Mario Kart clone that is probably a train wreck, but I'll check it out. And then Dream Pinball, which actually looks pretty good. It looks like legitimate pinball tables. You know, they're not real tables because they look generic, but the actual graphics make them look like real pinball tables, and they look as though they could be, you know, they're not fanciful tables that do things physics-wise and that real pinball tables can't do. This all looks like they could be real tables. So, yeah, video pinball, always enjoy that. And I picked up a handful of original Xbox games as well, including a couple that I didn't even know existed. I've got Robotech Battlecry on PlayStation 2, but I didn't know it also came out for Xbox. And so, cool to find that. I did not know that TDK Interactive ever made games, but that was a thing. I also wasn't aware that there was a video game adaptation of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Makes sense that there is because of the type of movie that it is, with all the action, but yeah, I wasn't aware of it. The character models actually looked really good. Chow Yun-Fat and Michelle Yeoh, I think. And it says it supports HD TV 480p. So, yeah, this could be interesting. I'll check that out. I got Gladiator, Sword of Vengeance. Tony Hawk's Underground. Burnout Revenge. Finally picked up that one. Splinter Cell Double Agent, which I think also came out on the 360. And I believe I have that version as well. I'll have to double check. And finally, X-Men 3, the official game. The official game for what is officially the worst movie in the X-Men trilogy. Unfortunately. But it's a thing. So that is all I have for this episode of Pickups. What do you guys think? What are the games in here that you guys really like? How many of you played King's Knight and Dino Riki as kids? And since they're real similar kind of auto-scrolling person on the ground shooting stuff or throwing things to fend off enemies, which one of these is the better game, and which would you recommend I play first? King's Knight is by Square. Adventures of Dino Riki is by Hudson Soft. Any of these Atari 2600 games you guys feel are really good? Is Popeye a conversion of the arcade game, or was I completely wrong on that? And how many of you have played Cinemora, or however it's pronounced, on any platform? And should I be pushing this one to the top of my playlist? I'm a big Shmups fan, so let me know in the comments section below what you think. Yes, and again, big shout out to Easy Racer for the Jeopardy Sports Edition cart. Again, make sure you go check out his channel. Again, I'll have a link below in the description, and make sure you go watch some of his videos. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and game on.